Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kamo. If you're new, welcome. In today's video I'll be doing questions that you should ask your family to prepare for your Skype interview with them. The dreadful Skype interview that we all don't want to do but have to do. It's a part of the process. So I'm just going to be helping you prepare for that interview in terms of what questions you should ask, what questions you should expect for your potential host family to ask you, and so on. Number one, you don't want to come across as poorly prepared during your Skype interview. You want to, when you get the invitation to do the Skype interview, you will now have access to the family's portal or their profile, their au pair profile. So you're gonna go on their profile and read through it, like really read through it. Don't skim through it. Read everything, because you will find out their names, if it's a couple, a single parent, the kids' ages, sometimes the kids' names, what the kids like to eat, the sports they like to participate in, just like general information that you should know going into the interview, so that then you present yourself in your best light and you present yourself as someone who already knows a little bit about the family, that it leaves a good taste in their mouths. It helps you stand out from all the other au pairs. Another piece of advice I can give you is that during that first interview, yes, have your limits, have your standards and your non-negotiables, but don't bombard the family with them right away. If you're, for instance, not willing to work on weekends, don't be like, oh, and by the way, I'm not going to be working on weekends while my friends are going on adventures. No, you don't want to do that, not in that way anyway. If you, for instance, want to be driving, you want a family that has an au pair car, you don't want to demand that on the first date. One of my host moms we used to work for the program. So one time she told me that there was this girl that wanted fresh fruit from the family every week. Now in America, fresh fruits are really expensive, and so it's not that they didn't have fresh fruits at all, they just had frozen fruits, and she demanded fresh fruits, and that caused a lot of problems. So you should be able to make some compromises. Also, another pro tip, make sure what you wrote in your application, maybe read your own application also first before you go into an interview, because you need to make sure what you say during that verbal Skype interview matches your profile, because chances are they read your profile, that's why they wanted to interview you. So if you had said that you have a certain number of hours or a certain number of years of experience, make sure you say the same thing during the Skype. If you said, for instance, you're athletic, you like to jog, you like to participate in sports, and then they tell you that they also like to do the same and they would like you to come together as a family to go do those kind of things, and then you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm not really an athletic person, but you clicked or ticked in your profile that you are an athletic person, that's a bit dodge. So try to make sure that your words and what you say about yourself matches what you initially wrote about yourself in your profile. Okay, now that's what you need to do to prepare. All this needs to happen before the interview. Now when the interview starts, you really want to start off slow, just like ease into it. If the kids' names and ages are not in their profile, maybe start off by asking, because the most important thing is the kids. The whole reason why this interview is happening is because of the children. You want to ask them, hey, if the names are there, I noticed that Jack does soccer on the weekends. Does he really enjoy soccer? Who are some of his soccer mates? Does he hang out with them outside of soccer practice? I noticed that Lily loves to go to ballet. How long has she been going to ballet? Stuff like that. Show interest in the kids. It's like super mellow and questions that families usually love to talk about, because they just love to talk about their kids. Then next you want to ask them what they do. What is their occupation? Is anybody working from home? If there's someone working from home, raise your hand. I'm just kidding. No, if they're working from home, this is going to be very, very problematic for you in the long run. I mean, when you first arrive, during that first week to 2 weeks, depending on how fast you learn, you're going to need them to show you around the kitchen, to show you around the bathroom, the kids' rooms, what normal procedure looks like for them, like the daily routine of how they handle the kids, so that you don't take the kids out of a routine. Sometimes if you are a first-time au pair, they'll let you create your own routine with the kids, but most of the time they already do have a routine, and during that first week, that's what someone will be home. If it's a single mom, maybe she'll take off from work and stay home for that week and help you. If it's two parents, one of them will help you drive around, handle the kids, just to see how you do with the kids. Now, after all that has been done, you know what to do, you know what type of snacks they like. Where does Jack go to ballet? I mean, Lily go to ballet. Where does Jack go to soccer? You don't need them anymore. But if they're in the house, this can be really, really confusing for the kids. Now it's like, oh, you're not my mommy, I want a snack right now, and if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to go tell my mommy. Now if mommy is in the house and mommy doesn't make it clear that, hey, Kamo is in charge, don't talk to me, don't ask me, go ask her. And if she said no, then she means no. If mommy cannot do that, then it's a problem for you, and it's going to be a problem that is not going to stop. It's going to be persistent throughout your program year, and you're just not going to have a nice time, because the kids will look at you like you're nothing. You will have no voice of authority whatsoever, unless the parents take that responsibility to really tell the kids, listen. It's really helpful if they do it in front of you, and some listen. When Kamo is working, she's in charge. If she says no TV time, no screen time, then no screen time. If she says no snack until it's snack time, then no snacks. If she says no swimming, then that's it. Don't come to mommy and ask, okay? If the parents aren't able to do that, I see really, really big problems for you. There needs to be some establishment of who's in charge and authorities and stuff like that. Okay, and on the note of establishing authority, you really want to ask the family what their obedience plan is. Are they kid obedient? Kids are not kids aren't saints, okay? Kids can be a lot, but you need to ask them, can they handle their kids? Do they know how to discipline their kids? Can they get their kids to listen to them, and what that looks like? You want to know, because sometimes kids can struggle listening to their parents, but then they'll listen to the au pair. But it's just better if it can go both ways, or if it's just better if they're already able to listen to their parents, because you get there and there's no discipline, no order, and you're like, what's happening, what's going on, who's in charge in this house, mom, dad, the kids? It can be very, very chaotic. So you want to make sure that these kids are able to be disciplined and they're able to listen to authority. Especially if you're new, it's like you're the new authoritative figure in the house, and yeah, it might take some time for the kids to get used to you telling them what to do. So that's something that you need to talk about with the family during the interview. And mind you, all this doesn't have to happen during the first interview. You can decide what you're comfortable asking during that first interview, and maybe in your second interview you can ask questions that you think are a little bit more difficult and uncomfortable to ask. Okay, and next, you want to ask about the house rules. Every household has household rules for the adults, for the kids, for everyone. One of my host moms had what you call a house rule book or whatever it is, but it was like a document of a couple of pages that she just forwarded all her previous au pairs before me, or even au pairs to come after me. I was at that time a potential au pair. She forwarded me that rule and in that book document, and in the document it had everything that you need to know about the Wi-Fi. You need to make sure that you have Wi-Fi in your bedroom. When you're in your home country, it may seem like it's not a big deal at all. It's whatever, I can go sit in the lounge or wherever to access Wi-Fi. But if everyone is always sitting in the lounge in the evenings and you just got off work and you've had 10 hours straight of 3 kids screaming and yelling and throwing things at you, you want to be by yourself, you want to relax, you want to call your mom and your dad, let them know that you're still alive, and you just want to be by yourself. So make sure that you have Wi-Fi in your bedroom. If this is something that you can't compromise on, then maybe this is not the family for you. You want to know also if there is a curfew for you. Now, if you're under 21, which I was when I first arrived, your curfew might be like 11, 12, 11:30, not even 12, 10 to 11:30. That might be your curfew if you're under 21, because you're not out there going to the club, right? And if that is the case, ask your family if you are welcome to have guests. Obviously, other au pair guests. One of my host moms told me that I could have guests over, but non-au pair guests are not allowed, like, and which I didn't mind, because most of my friends who were not au pairs had their own homes and apartments anyway. So if we wanted a sleepover, I could just go over there. But my au pair friends were always welcome, as long as I obviously let her know in advance. And even if it's something that happened quickly, maybe we went out together and for whatever reason my au pair friend can't go home, I could just like hit her up quickly, explain the situation. She was super cool, super chilled, the best. So all these questions are questions that you need to ask about the Wi-Fi and the curfew and the house rules. If they don't have like a house rule book for you, just like general things like who's taking out the trash and which day, do they recycle, what's screen time in the house, maybe you're not allowed to, I don't know, whatever, bring meat into the house. Some families have dietary restrictions, so ask them if they have dietary restrictions due to religion. If that's something that matters to you, maybe ask them what religion they are. I know I had a friend who the family did not eat meat, and so they didn't want meat in their house, and she was black, African from South Africa. Oh, she was black from South Africa. We love meat, we love fried chicken, and so she always had to sometimes sneak the meat in, but the meat will smell like, well, actually she lived in like the basement, which, yeah, there was no way that they would smell that unless they came into her room. So do yourself a favor, if you're black, just don't go live with people who don't want you bringing meat into their house, because you will bring meat into their house and maybe they will find out and that will cause problems, because this is serious for them. This is like their religious practice. This is what they live and stand by. And if you have any dietary restrictions, maybe you're vegan or you're vegetarian, let them know and ask them how they will be able to accommodate you with that. Maybe they'll give you like a small weekly stipend of your food, or they'll incorporate in their grocery list things that you eat. Like, just be open about it and discuss it with the family before you leave your home country. So you want to ask your family for a work schedule, right? So you can see what your day looks like, and if you can see how many hours a week you're going to work. Maybe you're going to work the full 45, or maybe you're gonna work maybe you're gonna work less than that. And guys, I'm sorry if you can hear noise in the background. My dad literally just pulled into our driveway and he's blasting soccer out of his car, listening to soccer out of his car. I don't know what was the reason. Yeah, find out, do you work on weekends? Do you have most weekends off? Which I've had it both ways, you guys. I've had it 10 hours a day every single day, work all weekends except the one that I have off. Also, on the time off situation, at the end of your year you have 2 weeks of vacation, paid vacation, and if you don't take it, then your family still has to give you the money for the leave that you didn't take. But I don't see why you wouldn't take your days off to travel or to just chill, relax. If you don't have money to travel, maybe you're saving money, chill out at home, go visit your friend or something. Yeah, I've had it both ways, where I was working a lot and then I had a really chilled family that had more time because of their family dynamic. And it's not the family's fault when they need help all the time or when they don't. So with my second family, I wasn't working weekends, any weekends. They were off. She would like ask me 2 weeks in advance on some, hey, I have the kids this weekend and I'm doing this and this with my boyfriend, or I'm doing this and this with my friends, can you watch them for a couple of hours? And it would usually be at the end of the day around 6 or 7, and I would just have to feed them dinner, let them have a little bit of screen time, and then they'll go to sleep, and then I can watch movies or go to sleep myself. I was allowed to go to sleep also while they were asleep. That's how chilled they were. Meanwhile, with my other family, if I was babysitting at night, I had to wait for them to come back from where they were going, and then I could go to sleep. You want to ask them if they have an au pair car, if it is available to you. And quickly on the car situation, if your family lives in the suburb, find out where they live. During the interview, ask them to be specific about where they live. If they live on a farm and they live on the suburb, or they live on the outskirts of Kentucky something, you need a car. You need a car. You're there to have fun, to explore on your days off. You don't want to spend all your money on Uber. So they need to have a car for you. Otherwise, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna be far away from everyone. Girls are gonna invite you out, and you're not gonna be able to go because of transportation problems. Now, if you live downtown somewhere, downtown LA, downtown Chicago, California, ATL, San Francisco, that's better because there's a bus stop within a couple of feet of you everywhere you go. There's a train. You can get a metro card and put some meters in them. They're really cheap. I could like get I didn't have a metro card, but I could get a ticket for like $1.90 something, and I would have that piece of paper or card for me to last me the whole day for $1 the whole day. Now imagine if you're taking an Uber everywhere. So that's not gonna work. If you live downtown, maybe it's fine. And if you do have a car still, that's even better, because then you can take road trips with your friends. You guys can families usually don't want other people driving their car, so if you take road trips, maybe they can chip in on petrol or gas money, and then you drive. Okay, if you don't have a car, they should have an Uber allowance for you that is enough for you to travel. I know a girl who was living on a farm, and the family understood that this is not an ideal location for an au pair, and they gave her an allowance for Uber, or they gave her their credit card. And based on while we're on the topic of location, make sure that the location that your family that you maybe are interested in or you're interviewing matches your personality, matches your character. If you're a city girl and you're up at all hours of the day and night, you have no business going to live in Pittsburgh or Harrisburg or Lancaster or Ohio, Cincinnati, or I don't know, somewhere in Kentucky. I mentioned Kentucky a lot because it is the rural child. Go live in California. The whole city of California is made for city girls. Go live in Seattle. I lived in Seattle. It's pretty chilled, but like there's enough happening for you to never feel like you're bored. Go live in Atlanta. Go live in New York. If you'll be right at home in New York. Even though it's not the same, it's kind of a little bit. It's like you won't be clueless when you get there. You won't be like, there's so many people. How do I cross the road? Like, cause you're kind of used to it. You're from Johannesburg. So if you grew up on a farm, you grew up on the suburbs, you grew up in a small town, and you don't feel like you want all that city noise, then for sure, by all means, go live in a county somewhere. Any county in America will be suited for you, and just don't pick a place that will make you miserable. Yeah, well, I did that with one of my families, and yeah, it had a huge impact on my mood overall. Also, on the note of working, make sure you ask your family if you will be expected to work on weekends. Now in your contract, it says that you are, if the family needs you to work on the 4th of July, on Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, whatever, then they have the right to make you work as long as you have hours available. As long as your 45 hours have not been used up, then you can work. My one family, like I said, I've had the best of both worlds. Not even the best of both worlds. I've had both worlds, basically. One wasn't that best, but anyway, where I was working on Thanksgiving morning, I was working Christmas, I don't think I was working. Halloween, I was working. That was fun. I loved working on Halloween and going trick-or-treating with the kids. But with my other family, she always had plans. My girl always had plans. She wanted to be with her kids on Halloween night because she had all these parties and cool stuff planned out. They would go to like 5 parties in one night, or they would go to parties that whole week of Halloween, which the only thing I had to do is get the kids ready, put their costumes on and off, clean up after them, because all this coming in and out, going to parties would make a big mess, and that's all that I had to do. And then I would be free to go and do whatever because I had the car available to me. Okay, so there's one really important question you should ask your family. If there's anything else, this can be nerve-wracking to ask, and if you're not a confrontational person, maybe after the interview a day later, email them and ask them this. Maybe they give you their IG handle, DM them and ask them this. But especially if you are a person of color or you're black, you need to ask your family about their political views. In America, people live by their political views. There's only 2 ways, really. It's very black and white, no pun intended. They're either Democrat or they are Republican, and if they say that they are Republican, you need to make sure that they are they Republican Trump supporters or Republican not Trump supporters. Like I've been saying throughout this whole video, I've had both worlds. I've had a Republican family Trump supporter. I've had a Democratic family absolutely hated Trump, like despised him. So this is important, guys. This is really important. You might not be motho politique, especially here in South Africa. We young people are kind of about politics. That's because with us, like, politics don't affect people's daily lives. Like, a person doesn't live like a DA supporter. A person doesn't live like an ANC supporter. You're not gonna go to the mall and be like, yep, that's a DA supporter, yep, that's an ANC supporter. Meanwhile, in America, it's the exact opposite, and people are very vocal and outspoken about it, and it will affect you. If you're a person of color, if you are South African or African black, it may be a different story for you. If you are white, Afrikaans, or if you are from Europe, it might be a completely different story for you. But if you're Hispanic and you're Afro-Latina and you're Indian, sometimes Asians too, you need to ask this question and make sure what you are comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, because things can get interesting. Things can get really tricky and interesting, and this is something you want to know before you leave your home country and go live with people in their home. Regarding your bedroom, if you can, ask them to send them your picture, especially if you live in the basement. Make sure that your room has a door. Make sure your room has windows where you can get fresh air. Food situation, make sure that they know it is in their contract. Make sure that they know that they're supposed to feed you, because things get so weird, you guys. Like, I don't want to discourage anyone, so I'm just telling you the best of au pairing. Yeah, but things can get interesting, so make sure that they know that they're supposed to provide food and shelter for you. Make sure there's a mutual respect. Don't be a pushover. Don't let anyone disrespect you, walk all over you, and take you for granted when you do get there and before you get there. Really, make sure that you take your time. This process is about you, for you. It's just as important to you, so make sure you take your time with these families. Interview them. If your intuition doesn't tell you that these people aren't gelling well with you, listen to it. Take your time. There's families out there. You're not running out of time, especially if you're using an agency. You do have time. Even if it takes you a month, 2 months, find a good family, because what's going to happen is you don't want to find a family that isn't good for you, and then you're gonna get there 2 days later or 2 weeks later, they decide that you suck, or you decide that they suck, and you're in rematch, and you just got there. You don't have anyone, you don't have a friend, you don't know what's happening, you don't know who to go to. They're in their country and they have each other and they have the program. Who are you gonna go to? Like, like girls struggle so much with this. You don't want to find yourself in rematch in the first couple of months, because really you're just helpless and you know nothing and you know nobody. So take your time when you're in your home country, so that when you get there everything is smooth sailing. It won't be perfect, but make sure that you don't find yourself in rematch. Maybe one day I'll talk about my rematch story, but it's really something that I don't want to talk about. But if it means it's gonna help someone out there, then I'll talk about it. So yeah, that's it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope all these questions are gonna help you make an informed decision when it comes to picking a host family. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you in your au pair journey. If you're about to start one, if you're already an au pair, have fun, enjoy, be in the moment. It's gonna be the best year of your life, the best 2 years of your life. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video, which will probably be about everything au pair. Bye.